All right, and welcome to episode 6 of the All Star Sports Report. It's a little crowded in here tonight. Of course, we got the usual suspects. I'm Gary Wells. That's Mike Capuzio. Two guests tonight. Um, they're going to stay the whole time. Screw it. We're here. We're going to talk about sports. We got everything. That's AJ Coppola, as you know, from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday on this channel. And he lets me crash here every once in a while. And we got Nate Orlowski as well joining us. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff here tonight. Obviously, Notre Dame and IU played. We did play a game.
Sad violin noises.
I know one team showed up.
Oh,
I
here we go.
want to jump off my balcony, so we'll just leave it at that. Okay.
Try the swan dive. I hear it.
We'll just say the team behind me won. That's all we'll say at this point.
Yeah, they didn't have very far to travel to show up to play. I don't think IU left Bloomington. Okay. We've got FCS football to talk about. We got that coming up. Speaking of which, it's what, quarterfinals? Nate,
Semis.
is that right?
Semifinals.
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
Semifinals. So we got North Dakota State, and they're playing South Dakota State, right?
They are. All right,
let's talk about that matchup. I saw that on television today. Let's go ahead and hit that matchup first if you're ready for it.
Well, let's test your knowledge first.
Okay.
So you're a sports guy, right? How much do you know of both teams?
I know that North Dakota State's basically the Alabama of FCS.
And that's about all as far as I know.
That's about it.
They used to be.
They used to be. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got North Dakota State, South Dakota State, right? So South Dakota State has actually won the FCS championship not two of the last 2 years, 2 years running. So they are going to be looking for a three-peat. North Dakota State, if you watch college football at all, you know North Dakota State, right? I don't know the exact number, but they've won like 7 of the last 12 national championships.
Yeah, they've been pretty dominant.
They have. Recently, though, it's been South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits. If you go back and you watch a game, not much going on in the home crowd area. It's pretty crazy. But their team on the field is dominant. So this should definitely be a pretty interesting game between two FCS powerhouses. I know a lot of people don't really follow FCS. They kind of consider it Division II, but it is actually not. It is Division I, AA.
AA.
Yep.
Is that like baseball?
Yep.
Yeah.
Some Division I.
There are many FCS teams. North Dakota State has beaten multiple FBS teams.
Mhm.
South Dakota State's beaten multiple FBS teams. We're not saying that the Jackrabbits can walk into Alabama or Notre Dame or North Bend and beat them, but they're not gonna lose 72 to nothing.
If Northern Illinois can go in and beat Notre Dame.
True.
Yeah.
I will say,
True.
I know they're a MAC school, but they call it any given Sunday and any given Saturday for a reason. Anybody can be beaten on any day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look back to 2005. Yep.
Say Appalachian State versus Michigan. That's one.
Yep. Still one probably
not the greatest upset of all time, but it's up there.
It's top 5 for sure.
It is. I mean,
top 5.
Well, I mean, North Dakota in basketball almost pulled the upset on Alabama a couple nights ago.
Did they?
They had them on the ropes.
Wow.
There for the last 5 minutes of the game, and it was in North Dakota, not North Dakota State, North Dakota. So you gotta clarify.
Wait, so Alabama actually went out there?
Yeah. Number
That's
6
crazy.
Alabama.
That's crazy. Why?
I don't remember the guy. Eagle Staff. Yeah, Eagle Staff. He went off for 40 points. He plays for North Dakota.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I'm sure he's gonna get some offers from big teams here and next year and go to the transfer portal and
Don't get me started on the transfer portal.
Yeah.
I have some feelings.
So North Dakota State versus South Dakota State. We talked about the matchup just a little bit. So how big of rivals are they? Is that a pretty big rivalry?
In recent years, it's grown. So I went to Montana State. Typically North Dakota State's biggest rival going to be North Dakota, right? The level of the two programs is nowhere close. And it's not a dig at North Dakota. North Dakota's kind of the little brother. And it's been kind of that void and that vacuum has been kind of filled by South Dakota State. Just because of the level of the program, right? But obviously in the Midwest, your geography kind of limits who your rivals are, right?
True.
You know, at least for speaking on behalf of Montana, you know, it's a 2.5, 3 hour drive, depending on how slow you drive, to the University of Montana from Montana State. Pretty easy. But if we were to drive to North Dakota, we're looking at 12 hours of driving.
Oof.
Minimum.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's not like here, I live in North Carolina. It's not like Duke and UNC where they're a stone's throw from each other. So, obviously, NDSU has decided to dominate the FCS the last few years, and I think South Dakota State's trying to take that from them.
So, since I'm not really familiar with the FCS playoffs, so do they play home and away games, or do they do neutral site, or they wait for that for the national championship? How's that all work?
Yeah, so the top seeds actually get home field advantage the entire way through playoffs until the national championship game. So right now, I believe South Dakota State, and Montana State, I believe, are the only two teams that right now that have home field that are left.
So North Dakota State's going, is going to South Dakota State tomorrow. That should be interesting.
I believe they are. Yeah. It's so
Well,
it's not really common for North Dakota State to be traveling in the playoffs.
no,
However,
it's not.
yeah, the last game of the regular season, they decided to drop the ball, if you will, against University of South Dakota. That was a huge upset, and it actually helped out South Dakota and got them in the playoffs.
So what are we looking at as far as matchup wise between these two teams tomorrow? You kind of watched them a little bit. So
jeez.
is it kind of like as a simple game plan as it should have been for Indiana? All they got to do is stop the run against Notre Dame, and they probably win the game. But then I couldn't stop anything. So here we are.
You know, it's you know, I actually forgot to look at this. But Mark Orlowski for South Dakota State. If you watch FCS football, you know the name, right? Not just because it sounds like Gronkowski, but the guy's a baller, right?
Is he a tight end too?
He's a quarterback.
Oh, quarterback. Okay.
So your fun fact is
I
he
would've
has
thought
now
he was a tight end too. Just saying. Just saying.
Well, he said Gronkowski, so I was
no Gronowski.
Oh,
Yeah, everything missing but the K.
Close
Okay.
enough.
That's very close.
Yeah, it's pretty close. It's pretty
Very
close.
He's gonna go play for New England. No, I'm just kidding.
Guy's a baller. Fun fact, he's actually tied for most FCS wins as a quarterback. Ironically, with North Dakota State's old quarterback.
Carson Wentz?
For wins. No, not Carson Wentz.
Trey Lance?
You put me on the spot now. I forgot. I can look it up. But looking at his quick stats here, the guy, if you look at his honors and awards, you got to scroll down. Like the guy is a straight up baller.
What about his season stats for this year? This year alone, what's he got?
All right, this year. Let's see here. I have it, and now my thing isn't loading, so I have to reload the page.
The boy came prepared.
He did come prepared.
I have like 13 tabs open.
It's all right.
Where's that music coming from?
So right now, Gronowski's sitting at a 61.3% completion rate, which doesn't sound great, right? But the guy's thrown for 2,500 yards this season.
Damn.
22 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Rushing, he is actually 5th on the team. 83 carries for 330 yards. So his arm is his weapon. He had the opportunity, I believe, last year. He was either going to transfer or possibly declare, but he chose to stay, unfortunately, for everyone else.
So this Mark Gronowski kid, you mentioned him, pretty good.
Very good.
And by pretty good, I mean really good. So I'm actually gonna throw some stuff at you because
All right.
you probably already know this. Mike, do you know what the FCS equivalent Heisman Trophy Award is? Do you know the name of the award?
I actually do not know the name of the award, but what is
You
it?
disappoint me because you're a Bears fan. You should know better. It's the Walter Payton Award.
Oh, is it the Walter Payton Award? Nice.
It is the Walter
Yep.
Payton Award.
I mean,
Okay.
you
So-
threw it to Mike. I was expecting it to be a Bears guy.
I was trying to
mean-
give him something positive to talk about for the Bears.
I would have
for
laughed even
once.
harder if you said like the Rex Grossman Award or something.
I was
like
gonna
that.
say I was thinking Dick Butkus, but I'm like
Well-
that's not it.
Well, they played in big schools. They didn't like Walter Payton. I can't remember what school he came from, but it was an FCS school or the equivalent of.
Yeah, were you
okay.
just talking about last year's winner?
No, I was getting ready
Okay.
to do that. So Mark
Yep.
Gronowski won it last year. So have they announced the 2024 winner?
I do not believe so.
Okay.
As far as I know, they do not. They have not released it.
So awards won by school, and I just happened to look at this. I'm a stats guy. I'm a nerd. So
You went to Jackson State.
Mm-hmm. Jackson State.
Eastern Washington has the most like students from that particular school that have won this Walter Payton Award. They have the most. Like awards.
Any
from-
ideas? Pretty big known wide receiver right now, playing in the NFL. Went to Eastern Washington. Anybody know?
Yeah?
Cooper Cup.
Cooper Cup.
Oh, I
Oh
knew
yeah,
that was,
Cooper Cup. That's
I knew
right.
it was Cooper.
Yep, Cooper Cup. Heck of a receiver. And that's why, people say, oh, well, they didn't play in the SEC, so obviously they're not that good. See, I look at it this way. As long as you can play and do the fundamentals, like this Gronowski kid here, I don't care who you are. You could come from Alcorn State or Appalachian State. If you have the fundamentals and you have the NFL body type, you're gonna make it in the NFL.
Yep.
But it's just. And speaking of Gronowski, very much a NFL ready quarterback if you want to. Man's 6'3" and 230 pounds.
Big boy.
Shoot.
It's like it's probably like watching Ben Roethlisberger play, or to the equivalent of.
It's kind of like watching Ben Roethlisberger run too.
Just without the
He's-
crime.
He's not the fastest runner. I'll put it that. He's not slow, but he's definitely not the quickest.
How's he with logical running, or is he just running for his life?
No, South Dakota State's offensive line, I believe they're letting up I could be wrong here. From what I've did my research, I believe they are allowing the second least amount of points in the entire FCS.
Because when you think about quarterbacks in the NFL that don't
Has to
normally
be
run, but
defensive.
then could run, you look at Roethlisberger, Brady. The quarterbacks that.
I don't know.
If-
When I look at Brady, I don't think about his running ability.
Okay, but every time he ran, it was for a first down and a huge chunk of yards.
Everybody was so surprised that he could run. You got a sundial out
And
there.
then it was 15, 20 yards.
I
Just
get what
like-
you're saying.
Just like Roethlisberger.
I get what you mean though, and I mean, if Luck didn't have to run for his life, I think he would have been in the same category as Roethlisberger.
I mean,
But
Luck did run for his life, and then when they hit him, his
he did run
head
for his
went.
life. Yeah, this way, and over there.
It's funny.
Pretty sure his helmet hasn't landed yet.
Did we say that Walter Payton went to Jackson State? Did we
Yes.
talk about that? Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that part. I wasn't here. Okay, but Gronowski, he actually has won the MVP award for the national championship game in the FCS last 2 years. Sorry, I'm kind of stealing your spotlight, but I
No,
just happened to.
seriously.
You're showing more love to what he's been eyeing for how long, Nate?
Who, Gronowski?
Yeah.
I think I can't remember if he's a super senior or a senior this year.
I think he's a senior, probably.
Super senior? Is that like the same as a red
Like
shirt?
super senior is like a 5-year.
Yeah.
So
like,
yeah, red shirt. Probably red shirt at one point.
I don't know. You say
but-
super senior. I feel like there's a flat like a
Do you feel like
Like-
a fat guy?
like a cape. Like every time he throws the ball, it's like
Oh,
flying in the wind. Da, 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 da.
I got you.
so also
I
your
mean, you
fun
might as well
facts.
put a cape on him.
Yeah, also your fun facts about some FCS Walter Payton Award winners have been Tony Romo and
That's
Jimmy
right.
Garoppolo.
Yep.
And
Both of
Cooper
them
Kupp.
have an issue with staying
Staying
on the
healthy.
field.
Well,
Yep.
they went to the
Wow.
same school. What does that tell you?
I mean, Romo would have a better career if he knew how to hold a field goal.
Oof.
So right now the three finalists are, oh man, I don't want to say his name wrong. Targi Lamson, the running back for Southern Utah. Quarterback Tommy Mellott for Montana State, and Cam Miller of North Dakota State, QB for NDSU.
Okay.
Okay.
So does Montana State play tomorrow as well?
They do. Yep.
State guy here. So
Yep.
so you got to talk to us about the rivalry a couple weeks ago, or at least you did with me. I don't know about anybody else. You pretty much talked to anybody that would listen to you. So
Oh well, here's the thing. You listen to him.
Oh,
True.
uh,
shot
Your fault.
already.
You could have just left me on red, but you didn't. So your
Good.
your fault
don't-
at this point.
We don't do
Right.
that to people around here.
So tell me, let's go ahead and tell these beautiful people, since we're talking about FCS football, and you obviously went to Montana State. Let's talk about the rivalry between Montana and Montana State
So
and how crazy it is.
people don't think of Montana as having like, some people don't even think Montana has electricity, but
Or is a state. I
yeah,
mean, but
where's
here
the
we are.
state, right? Montana and Montana State, 125th time that they had met. Let's see, 2-3 Saturdays ago. Luckily Montana State just beat the brakes off of Montana. It was great. But like being there at the school and actually getting able to kind of experience it is really, to me, it's really special, right? Here right outside Raleigh, we've got Duke and UNC, obviously a big sports rivalry. But
Especially on the basketball side.
Mhm.
yes. But over the years, it's kind of like been tamped down a little bit. And I don't know if that's just because we have so many like transplants from the north, AJ, or we just have people's love for it just hasn't been there.
Well, I mean, I also think too. We're talking about the Duke UNC rivalry. I feel
felt
like a
that.
lot of it. Both those coaches retired, right? Roy
Yes,
Williams and Mike
Krzyzewski.
Krzyzewski.
Yep.
And it
Mhm.
seemed like the way, at least when ESPN will promote the rivalry, right? It seemed like when they promoted it, it was about the coaches, and now those coaches aren't there anymore. So now they don't really care. They're on to the next thing. I mean,
Well,
ESPN's probably going to talk about LeBron James taking a pee here in about 30 seconds. Okay,
I'm sure.
that's
I'm
what
sure.
they do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they do. It's ESPN. As one of my roommates is a big LeBron James fan, and if I call him
Gross.
LeBron, he's probably going to break into
Ooh.
this room right here while we're
Whoa.
having
Does
this
he fall on the
podcast.
ground out of nowhere and say, "Oh, foul"?
Does he take a 2-week vacation from his team?
No.
Does he take
I mean,
42
Robin,
steps before
Robin
it's
took a
called travel?
24-hour vacation from his team, though.
Does he
Back
like
in the
stub his toe and be like, "Oh, foul! I need 2 free throws."
That's right. So,
Oh, my leg.
who is Montana State playing tomorrow? Sorry, we'll get back on track.
No, yeah. So Montana State will be playing University of South Dakota, who actually just beat North Dakota State at the end of the regular season.
Mhm.
Nobody saw that coming. But South Dakota, you can't sleep on them. Obviously I'm biased towards Montana State. They are the #1 team in the country, pretty much, #1 in almost every single statistic. Quickly looking at Tommy Mellott's, the quarterback, his stats, it's stupid. He's got an arm, doesn't really utilize it probably as much as he should, but the guy's a runner.
Do you think
And
that's more so because of the scheme or because of his play style?
I think both. For the last 8 to 10 years, we've really had run first quarterbacks at MSU. It's worked. The last throwing quarterback that I can remember that really had a booming arm and didn't want to run very much was Dakota Prukop. Transferred to University of Oregon. Kind of never heard about him again.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did have a transfer quarterback from NC State. Didn't pan out. He decided to quit on the team in the playoffs. But
Do you do one of these like Anthony Richardson?
He tapped.
he got benched for the current quarterback, Tommy Mellott, who is a purebred Montana boy. And I don't think he appreciated that, and he transferred to Elon. So looking at Tommy Mellott's stats here. So, oh, sorry. Why? I don't know why my computer is deciding to.
Have a mind of its own.
Yeah. Don't sleep on Tommy. They call him Touchdown Tommy in Bozeman, and it's for a reason. So looking at his stats right now, he's got a 70.4 completion rate. 183 attempts, 183 completions on 260 attempts for 2,454 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
Wow,
That's pretty good.
Yes.
phenomenal. What's his rushing stats? Because that seems kind of low on the pass attempts, but I mean that's a lot of yards. So
Yes. If you'll give me just a second here.
Is this the game that's gonna be on ABC tomorrow? Because I did see tonight during the Notre Dame game that they were saying an
Yep.
FCS game's
yes,
on ABC.
I believe this was
3:30.
this is the game. Yeah.
Okay.
He is 92 carries for 790 yards.
How
Wow.
many tutties?
12. So the guys accounted for
He's
what,
pretty good.
40
Hey.
touchdowns almost.
And what I like about watching FCS football, yes, you get to see the air raid stuff from the spread a lot, but there are teams, particularly in the FCS, that I really like North Dakota State,
Gross.
Eastern Illinois, Montana State, Montana. Oh, you went blurry
Yeah,
on
my
us there, bud.
camera has decided to have a
To failure
seizure.
there for a second. Anyways, so while he's
Still
sorting that
is.
out, they like to run a pro style offense.
Nate,
And I can
bottom
get-
left hand corner, click your video, like kill it, and then turn it back on.
There you go.
There it is.
There it is. It happens sometimes.
Google's a wonderful
But
thing. Just in case that happened again, I looked it up.
but yeah, so that's why I like watching those schools, because they play a pro style offense, and a lot of those guys can be pro ready if they get a chance. But not a lot of them get that chance because
Yeah. I mean,
they'd rather go with the power four and the group of 5 guys first.
the Alabamas, the Notre Dames, the Ohio States. Montana State just had their highest drafted player ever a couple seasons ago. Troy Anderson, linebacker. Second round
I've
pick
heard
for
of
the
him.
Falcons.
That's right.
Yep. The guy's a freak. I think he started at quarterback, moved to running back, and it was like an All-American in both positions. Then got moved to linebacker and became an All-American. They said his 40 time at the combine would have put him 5th for all in the entire combine for wide receivers if he had
Damn.
been a wide receiver.
Wow.
The guy's a
That's-
freak.
That is a freak.
So basically, what you're telling us is, if Atlanta were to get thin at running back at any point, they could throw him in the game.
Yeah, so he's really
which we
kind
have
of
seen.
yeah, he's really like a Taysom Hill style player. Anything you want him to do, I mean, he's there. I mean, the guy's 6'3", 245. Like he's
Holy
huge,
cow.
and he
So he
runs
could
that
be-
fast.
He could play safety too, probably. So
Lay
funny thing you
somebody
mentioned
the
that.
fuck out.
So you guys remember Miles Jack? Played at UCLA, and then I
Yes.
think played for, I want to say Jacksonville.
Yes, it was
That's
Jacksonville.
right. Yeah. So when he was at college at UCLA with UCLA, okay, I call him UCLA. It's funny.
It checks.
they were really thin at running back. And so Miles Jack, pretty freak athlete, kind of like what this Anderson guy is here that plays for the Falcons. They had him play running back. And he was actually pretty good at running back too. There were actually thoughts of him like switching positions to running back at one point. He was that good. So Anderson sounds like another type of guy where he's played quarterback, running back, linebacker. If he wasn't 245 pounds, he could probably play corner or safety.
Jack of all trades. Unfortunately, he's landed on IR for the second time.
And
So
that's
if he
why
can
it's so
stay
tough to play in
healthy,
the NFL like that because, like, if you can't get past your first couple seasons of injury,
Yep.
you ain't gonna
Yep.
make it very much longer. And so
No.
that year three is gonna be literally make or break for him, and that's how it is for a lot of players, unfortunately.
it's going to be interesting for this game. Montana State comes into the playing South Dakota. I think they average. Hold on, I want to get this right. 306 rushing yards a game,
Dang.
Yo,
which is
Damn.
crazy, right?
You're
But
you're moving on, breaking on the record almost every year if you're gonna do that.
it's correct. Well, they have 2 running backs that are over 1,100 yards.
So we're
So-
kind of looking at like a Gibbs and Montgomery kind of thing. A
pretty
two-headed
much. That's
dragon
what it
there.
sounds like. Yeah,
Yeah. We've got a senior and a freshman, and they are just. I
they're
mean,
just balling out.
Well, when
Yeah.
one's gonna leave, the other one's gonna pick up the slack.
Talk about
very
running,
much.
talk
Yeah.
about running back university.
yeah. We've always had a lot of good running backs. A couple of them have gone to play in the CFL, but none in the NFL. But the
So,
interesting
do you
part,
guys more like run a spread there? Do y'all run like triple option, like, or do you guys just
It's
are really good
all-
at rotating?
it's
backs in and
a
out?
lot of options. If you run 15 plays on a drive, they're probably going to run it 13 of them. But it works. You know, we don't do anything
From where
super
the
fancy.
academy's in.
Yeah, we don't do yeah. The difference between us and the academies though is that at least RIP Army, at least our runs work. And we won't just run
That's
it down the
Oof.
middle every single play. Don't get me
Oof.
started on that game.
I
The interesting
forgot.
part about this game
we
though,
won't talk about that either.
the interesting part is it's the #1 rushing offense versus the #1 rushing defense. South Dakota is only allowing like 89 yards per game rushing.
Okay.
So
So-
similar to what we had tonight with IU versus Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I feel like
It's-
people don't want to
it's-
talk about it.
We'll talk about it. I just don't want to start out talking about it.
Well, go do that next. I gotta let the dog out.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I've actually got tickets to go to the national championship game. So
Because that's
you
in
know, fingers crossed.
San Antonio, right?
it's in Frisco, Texas.
Frisco,
Wow.
Texas.
And
Okay.
they play in a soccer stadium.
Yeah, you just had the Frisco Bowl this week right there.
The
Yeah.
Frisco Bowl.
Apparently that's like the FCS headquarters. So
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
Okay. Yeah. that makes
next
sense.
year they are moving to Vanderbilt's stadium,
Ooh.
I believe.
Well, their
So-
renovations will be done, so
Yeah.
So
a little bit of an
Yeah.
upgrade.
fingers crossed that I get to see the Bobcats out there and
For 2 years in a row. One's a little closer
Um,
than the other.
so I can't remember if I had tickets the last time or not. I don't think I did. But yeah, it's gonna be fun.
How many
just
national
hoping that
titles has Montana State won?
3,
Nice.
When was the last
Uh,
time they won one?
1984.
Okay, so they're
They're I believe they are the only college football team to have ever won 3 different national championships at 3 different levels.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yep.
Good to know. Right on. Well,
It's been a long time coming. We'll see.
that's
Fingers
fair.
crossed.
It's kind of like, IU on the basketball side hadn't won a national title since 87. Notre Dame hasn't won a title since what, 87, I think, as well.
88.
88. Okay. I was close.
It's kind of like the
So-
Rangers haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1992.
Just be
4.
glad. Just be glad
I-
he's taking the dog out right now.
I hope AJ heard that somehow, but I think he put his headset down. So let's go ahead. We'll talk about the elephant in the room. I know I said IU by a million last week, guys. I exaggerate. Okay, I exaggerate on this podcast all the time. We do it for the views, do it for the clicks, as Dan Lanning likes to say. So we'll go ahead and talk about how the Rangers haven't won anything. Oh wait, he doesn't even have his headset on.
Nope, he
Waiting
does
for
not.
him to put
I
his
could talk
headset
all
on.
the trash about New
Yeah.
York.
And the
No.
Rangers are the
Rangers are
worst team in the NHL. I'm just kidding. Welcome back, AJ.
I didn't think we were going there next.
No,
Oh, we're
not.
always going there, especially after this
So-
season. It's
So
been delightful.
Yikes. So we're gonna go ahead. Woo. Hey, this is your channel, so I guess you can do what you want, right?
I mean, I didn't say it. I just
Is this the new
Gestured
this is the new thing, All-Star 15 TV After Dark?
it. Right.
Dude, I've been told
Adult
I,
Swim.
That NSFW tag on it.
So,
I've been told I
not
need a
safe for
Nerds
work.
After Dark show. So
Oh,
That would be interesting.
that would be very
So
interesting.
let's go ahead. We'll talk about the Notre Dame IU game. We'll just get it out of the way.
oh, okay,
Hold
cool.
on, hold
cool,
on.
cool,
Before we
cool.
do this, can I actually bring up a comment from one of our viewers?
Oh, sure.
Sure. What do you got?
I swear to God,
Joe-
it's the one from Joe.
It's the one from Ryan, I think.
Nope.
Or is it the one
Joe.
from Joe?
Joe wants to know who has the furthest receded hairline in this podcast right now.
AJ, probably. AJ's like, I'm protecting my whole
It's-
Yeah,
head.
I'll just go ahead and
It
I will-
exist.
Mike-
You can't see it.
I will say it's not
Mike
me.
Can, Mike, be blessed that you have hair. Okay.
Yeah, it's not me.
Yeah.
All right. Be blessed
stupid
that you have
perfect
the hair.
hair.
Yeah, and he has to get it cut every 4 weeks. You know how many times I go get a haircut? 4 times a year. So we'll see who has the bigger haircut bill at the end of the year. All right. So
We all can't be
but-
winners, Joe.
That's right. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about IU Notre Dame. As I
You
said last
elephant
week,
room. I thought you were talking about me. Got it. Cool.
no, your name isn't
It's
Rob.
a self-burn. Ouch.
Skadunk.
Oh, sorry, Rob.
No, I knew
Hope
where
you're-
Gary
hope
was
you're
gonna go with
Good
that.
dink.
There
Got
were
him.
many, many directions I could have gone with that, but I'm gonna be nice. Okay. So it was the 30th matchup. Everybody talked about it. First matchup since 1991. Everybody knew about that going into this game. I had mentioned it a million times, and I will continue to mention it because the game plan really was pretty simple tonight for Indiana going into this game. They had to load the box and stop the run. Now, I will say, I thought IU was a little bit undersized most of the season. But I think they were able to get away with it with their athleticism. Except when they played Ohio State. So tonight, I was a little bit anxious going into the game. I did think that they could pull out the win if they would have been able to do some of the stuff that they've been doing all year. But offensively, it just kind of felt like I was watching them play Ohio State, where they just were content with just trying to run the ball, kind of like Army, right up the middle.
It didn't work the
run,
first
1 yard
32
run, 1 yard
times.
run, punt. I mean, that's just
33rd
up
will
the
work.
middle, up the middle, up the middle, punt. I mean, that's basically what IU did all night. And it was the most frustrating thing I've ever seen. And that's where I think I wish there were a couple times, especially in the second half, where we're down 17-3. Go for it on 4th down. What's it gonna hurt you? And then what
Nothing to
killed
lose.
us? And then what killed us on the swinging gate play that Notre Dame didn't convert. Signetti calls a timeout.
Mm-hmm.
Now I was watching the game in the second half with my roommates, and one of my roommates, yeah. So they have a girlfriend. So, but anyway, I'm not going to get into. The point is, there. I think at that point I said, "Game's over," and they're like, "No, be positive." No, I said, "No. I've watched Indiana football for the last 30 years. Game's over. It's over right here. They ain't coming back from this. Peyton Manning ain't sitting on the sideline, getting ready to throw the ball. Tom Brady ain't there either. So Joe Montana isn't there either."
Question, Gary. With coming into tonight's game, I knew you were hoping for them to win. It was an uphill battle, but are you excited to where this program is going with how good this team was this year?
There's definitely a lot of problems, and I think, and this is this was Cignetti's goal. People just see the little snippets of his press conferences where he's just saying, "Oh, we're the next powerhouse. I win. Google me." They just see like his little cocky like snippets,
Yeah.
right? Like they don't watch his press conferences every week like most IU fans do. So people have been comparing him to Deion Sanders, where it's like you have a lot of talk but no game. But I just want to say it's completely untrue. And I know Nate just absolutely loves Deion Sanders when I said that. So there's the guy roll.
Just hearing the name makes me angry now.
I
Screwed
will
up the
say
Yankees
this. I
back
will
in the
say this
90s.
about Cignetti. His track record has proven everywhere that he's gone, he's won. I think that's agreed upon. And the thing was, when he came to Indiana, the first thing he said was, "We got to change the way people think about Indiana football." And I will say, for the most part, he has done that. We go from barely having 5,000 people in the stands in the first game of the year to
Back in the
selling
house.
out the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen at Indiana. Half the time, if it's Indiana, Ohio State, it does fill up, but 70% of it is Ohio State fans. You know those pictures that they take of the elongated pictures of like all these different stadiums?
Yeah.
And you see IU's Memorial Stadium sold out? Okay. Prior to this year, it was probably taken during the Ohio State-Indiana game.
Well, at least they wear red and white.
And it was red, okay? It was the same red. You just didn't know what red it was. But my point is what he has done with the program, the losing this program in college football, it was well documented before the game. They threw the graphic up there. Most losses in the FBS, and in the same conference, Michigan has the most wins. So you literally have polar opposites in the same conference. Okay.
Wait, they were
IU's
worse
awful.
than Kent State?
Yeah. They're worse than Kent State. It's bad. It's bad. Kent State's pretty bad. They're atrocious.
I think they went winless this season.
Nick Saban played for Kent State, actually. True
Did he?
story.
I did
Yeah.
not know that.
He went to Kent State.
They
I
probably
guess
didn't
you
go
can
0
dig yourself
in
out of
12,
graves.
13.
Well, they found a good coach. I wouldn't say he was a phenomenal player, but I mean, those that can't do, teach.
Teach. Yeah.
But I am very happy. I'm fairly happy, and I kind of sound like a spoiled brat with everybody when I said the game's over and I kind of stormed my room. But you know what? Phenomenal season, 11-2. I want to see what it's like when he has some of his high school recruits in there. If we didn't have the transfer portal rules that we have in college football, there is no way in hell IU wins 11 games. There's no way. They probably win 3 or 4. What we've been doing in the last 3 seasons, IU won 9 games. This year they won 11.
So here's a question for you, though. Would you rather have, a whole team of guys who are dedicated to IU and just not win very many games? Or would you like every year new faces and one and dones who just don't care about the program? Like, I don't feel like that's going to change the culture. You know what I mean?
I'd rather have people bought in.
Yeah, I would have
Really?
bought.
No,
bought in.
and that's the thing. So he mentioned this in his press conference a couple weeks ago. He's got 22 high school recruits coming in. And I think like 18 of those are coming in at the Christmas break. So they're coming in for spring ball, and the rest of them are coming in the summer. What?
What you laughing at?
What?
Ryan.
Are we talking about the hairline?
No, it's the chat, but it's not that part.
Oh.
Oh, did I miss something? Oh boy. Oh boy.
We're all very confused.
Yep, very confused. You'll have to enlighten us. Okay, so but most of them were offensive guys. Most of them were offensive players. And the rest of them are defense. I think going forward with this new college football model, they're going to need to get a salary cap. And they're going to need to do something about this transfer portal rule. Because I do agree with a lot of what Saban's saying. I think people are just saying that because people are disregarding Saban because it's like, oh, you're old school and you're only saying this because you lost control at Alabama and all this and that. Well, some of that may be a little bit true. I think there is a lot of truth to what he's saying, though. They do need to have some rules in there because it is a Wild Wild West. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, you got kids that could just leave at a moment's notice.
I knew it would kill college sports, but
here we are.
Yeah.
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 So, but I do think that there is some potential with IU football. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. I think now the expectations are raised a little bit higher. So now it's just a matter of what are we going to do with those expectations?
Well, here's the thing. With how good of a season they had this year, it's not really going to affect next year. It could, but it's going to affect the year following. And especially if I would think they would build from this year to next year, do roughly around the same, if not better. Maybe if they lose an extra game, it doesn't hurt them as much. But they need like at least a 3-year consistency of how well they do. This is most programs that are trying to rebuild everything before they really start getting groundwork.
No, and there's a lot of truth to what you're saying there. I mean, that's what I've been saying about with the whole Signetti hire. Like, we're going to know by year 4.
Yeah,
Going into season 4 is
'Cause-
when you'll really see where IU stands as a football program.
because that's when you get everybody bought in. That's when you get those high school kids that have signed in
Yeah.
and really start working for the program to see how well it
Yeah.
does.
And I think really the thing is to, and I was getting ready to say this, and ADD got me on like a whole nother tangent. I think it's going to be really it's going to have to be a combination. You're going to get some guys, and I think the way Sig has done it, he did it the right way. Okay. He didn't go out and get some bratty 18, 19-year-old kid that was a second string or third string in Alabama to come play at IU. What he did was he took some group of five kids from like JMU or where he found Curtis Rourke at Ohio, and just all these smaller schools that were 2 or 3 year starters, show consistent play, that had maybe 1 to 2 years of eligibility left, and was like, hey, come play at Indiana.
Nate, did
We're
you do
turning
that
the thing
one-handed?
around. Do what?
No,
Did
I
you
did
type
not.
that one-handed?
I did not.
What
Trenton Branson says to limit transfers to 1 time or you have to sit out a year, and I 1000% agree with that.
I always
is
thought
that
it
is
was
one
you
of
had
the
to
only
sit out a
ways.
year. Was that an old rule?
That
Where you
was
had to sit
the
out?
the old way. Yeah,
Yeah, it was the old way.
yeah.
You know,
definitely was the old way.
it's gonna tamp down the madness, right? Because right now, like Gary said, it is the wild west, and it's, I don't know, it's kind of sad. I mean, like Montana State, right? They can't afford to pay their players like a
Right.
program like Alabama, who spends $78 million a season on their football program.
Yeah.
Like, so
Well, and look at it this way too. I mean, yeah, and it's going to kill. I think it's going to kill the FCS, honestly. And here's what I've said about also with
it has already has.
Yeah, it has. So we're talking about limited one time transfer. Here's the thing: you also have to do it in such a way where you have to do it after the football season is over, or
Yes,
like
after
what
bowl
Ryan
season.
was getting ready to say here, or after. Like, there should be no transfers after the fall semester. Period. You do it in May. That's when you transfer. Finish the academic year.
Yep.
And then go transfer.
I agree with that.
The
and
overall
people
biggest
and people have said, hey, what if they want to transfer after the fall semester and they want to find out what the role is for spring ball? Well, that could change on your current team in the spring. Say you're the second string running back, right? And you're not getting the playing time that you want. So you're thinking about leaving because you're gonna be third year. So you're gonna be a junior, right? Well, what if they tell you, hey, you're gonna start next year by spring ball? Would you still leave or would you stay?
It depends on the program.
Yeah.
Correct. I think it really does depend on the program. But I think you just gotta give everybody an equal chance, because this isn't high school ball where the coach's kids playing all the time. Right? It's not like that. So
I mean, here's the thing. I don't like the attitude that these players have where, oh, I'm not seeing the field as much as I want. Let me go see what it's like over there. I go, why don't you just get better?
Yeah. My biggest
That
issue
part.
with this whole transfer portal thing is the bigger picture has been lost, right? So everybody focuses on the sports, right? So I played lacrosse at Montana State, right? Obviously not a big program. Like, They just won the national
I had no
championship.
clue you were athletic.
Wow.
Surprise.
And
Um,
you
but
play hockey too,
regardless,
didn't you?
I play beer league hockey.
Oh, that doesn't
Um,
count.
That's fun hockey.
Yeah. But no, my point is people have lost their way with this, right? Kids are there at the institution to get a degree and get an education. But we have made it to where the education is secondary to football. That's what the pros are for. If you're good enough and you want to try to play in the pros, that's where you go. That's your job. That's where you make the money. You're not at Penn State to play football. You were at Penn State to get a degree. And that's the thing that bugs me is like you're paying all these kids sometimes millions of dollars just to play football when it's using up a scholarship that could be, some less fortunate kid that may not play football very well,
But is a
but he
genius.
but he wants to get an education and wants to go to Penn State or wherever. And that's the biggest thing that bothers me about this.
Well, and I think this
More
is
money
what
is
Nick
made
Saban-
over
right.
bigger sports than it is for smart kids.
Right. Well, and Adrian, by the way, when you get a minute, take a look at your messenger. But while he's doing that, one thing that I do think you got to set the floor for, as far as the NIL stuff, I think the base is going to be that it is your scholarship to play football. Like all your expenses are covered, right? And then the
Yeah.
extra NIL stuff where that money comes in is extra, and you base it off of that. But I also agree with what Chip Kelly said, and I've been beating this drum for a couple of years now. I think what you got to do is you have to make everybody independent, because, like you said, lacrosse didn't ask to go. Like Oregon lacrosse did not ask to go from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten.
Wait,
Women's basketball, women's volleyball didn't ask to go from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten.
is it a school for each division? Because I swear UConn was Big East and American Conference with different sports.
Some
So you
teams
could
have
do
that.
that. But
Yep.
most schools, like look at Notre Dame, for example, okay? We'll just use Notre Dame as the example, not because Mike's a Notre Dame fan, but this has just been what they've been doing
Yeah,
for
damn
years.
it, Mike.
So hockey, where does Notre Dame play? What conference? You'll be wrong. Big Ten. All their other sports, like literally all of them, the rest of them, ACC.
ACCC. Yep.
Yep.
And
But-
football, they're independent.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think that the conferences at this point are getting a little bit overrated anyhow.
Yeah,
The
isn't the
only
Big
way I
Ten
think
only
you
supposed to
make
have
it
10
even-
teams in there? Or the Pac-12 only supposed to have 12?
Yeah, 10 to 12 teams, I think is what it should be. But it's not going to be that way anymore.
Now it should just be the
Unfortunately.
pi or the infinity symbol.
Hmm.
Pack infinity,
Here's
just
what
add
Chip
whoever the hell
Kelly
you want.
said, and I'm going to keep beating the drum on this one, guys. Everybody in football has to be independent. You get a commissioner. I don't care if it's Nick Saban. I don't care who it is. Get a commissioner. Everybody's independent. You play 12 games based off of your geographic location. So you play 12 games, say 8 of them, you play everybody in your region. So like you're in the Midwest, or you go play some East Coast teams. And then maybe for your remaining 4 games, you go play a couple West Coast teams or something like that. But the bulk of your schedule, the main 8 games, we'll say, you maintain, some of your rivalries. Like IU will still play Purdue and Michigan. They'll play Ohio State. They'll play Penn State. Whoever that might be. But you play within your region.
Okay.
And then the other 4 games, you play 2 East Coast teams and 2 West Coast teams. And then from there, you don't have a committee to pick the 12-team playoff. You do it by the numbers. Because I'm pretty sure the FCS does not have a committee for their I can't say it's stupid playoff format, but they don't have a committee for their playoff format. They go by the computer. Pretty sure the
They
FCS.
got a committee.
Oh, they got a committee in the FCS? That's
Ironically, the president of that committee is the athletic director at North Dakota State. They say
I
that he
don't-
was left out of the decision. I don't buy it. But that's a different
I
story.
don't think you should have any. There should be no committees for your playoff brackets. It needs to just be done by Just do it by the computer. It worked forever for the BCS. It worked forever. I know it wasn't like ideal, like for some matchups, some years, but 95% of the time, I thought it was the best outcome that you could get because you avoid the human error and you avoid the human emotion. That's just my opinion. Like,
Yeah, I don't get Florida State last year.
and Georgia shouldn't be in the college football playoff because their quarterback's hurt. Okay. If we want to go by that logic, right? If we
Yep.
want to go by that logic.
Yep.
They wouldn't put on a good show. We left them out.
To be fair, they did get steamrolled by Georgia 60-something to 3, okay? But man, when they got a first down, they were still playing that fight song.
That's more than steamrolled. That's
a murder.
Yeah.
Do we even want to call it a murder? I mean, that's basically beating them into a fine powder.
That was like TCU Georgia in the championship game.
Oh
that one
God.
year.
Oh man.
I turned that thing off at halftime. I
Yeah,
didn't watch
that
it.
was-
Yeah, I turned it off.
You went to halftime? I was
surprised I went to halftime.
I was in a
okay?
Discord chat with a couple of my buddies, and they're like, "This game is over, and it's maybe 5 minutes left in the second quarter." I was like, "Okay, back to Call of Duty."
Pretty much. But they got to do something different with college football. They got to do something. I don't know. I don't know what the perfect answer is, to tell you the truth, but they got to do something.
Trenton, I think you have an idea with that. We're doing it something like March Madness, but I think there are too many teams for that,
Yeah,
and
that'd be a way.
you'd have to limit it to at least 16 or 12.
Yeah.
Like I like the idea where one plays 16, 2 to 15. I do like that kind of thing, but there are way too many schools. For basketball, it makes more sense because there's 64 of them.
Yeah, there's 64. Yeah.
So 68.
So, Nate, let me-
68
go
make it. 68 make it.
Yeah, with
and
the
they had
4
to play
play-in
it.
games.
Well,
Yeah.
with the 4 playing games, I make it 64. I don't like the play-ins.
Can you imagine if football did it? We would have started this a month and a half ago.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. So let me ask you this, BCS guy. So, or FCS rather.
I feel like the BCS should switch to the FCS.
I agree with
Why
that.
not?
Now, let me ask you this though. Do you guys have bowl season, or is it just the playoffs and that's it? You guys don't have any extra bowl games, right?
No, there are no bowl games in the FCS.
Perfect. Just get rid of them.
Yeah, I mean,
And the BCS, just get rid of them. Because what you're doing already with the semifinals or quarterfinals, whatever the heck they are. Okay. Semi. Well, I'm talking about at the D1 level, not the D1 AA. The quarterfinals or whatever we got going on New Year's. That's 4 out of your major 6 bowl games anyhow.
right.
So
Nobody
just-
wants to watch the Charmin Ultra Soft,
Okay, true story.
by
There was a bowl
CarQuest
game
bowl.
today between Jacksonville State and Ohio, like the Bobcats of Ohio, where Curtis Short came from.
What was the
There
bowl?
was nobody in the stands at Camping World Stadium today.
I believe it.
Nobody. There may be 1,000 people. ESPN had to go extra try hard to show no fans. Okay, like
Yeah.
you know how during COVID year they would show no fans
Mm-hmm.
because it was COVID year. Well, this is not COVID year, and they were trying to get all the camera angles right to where you couldn't see the sideline or the fans.
Yikes.
Wow.
It
I
was
remember
that
ESPN
bad of
showing
attendance.
marble racing in
That-
2020.
But again, that's what I'm getting at is like, just get rid of the bowl games. I know there's some money in it. I get it. You know, you get your group of 5 guys that, you know, it's good for their schools. It gets them a bowl game, gets them something to play for. But half the time, you know what's happening? These guys ain't playing anyway. They're opting out. Look at Marshall.
That's
For
yeah.
example.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got
Marshall.
a bone to pick with Marshall being
didn't-
an Army fan.
They didn't extend the guy's contract, the head coach's contract, right? Didn't extend his contract. So what does 40, like over half the roster do? Go to the
See ya.
portal.
Bye.
They only had like 40 players on the roster. You can't field a game with that. So they had to forfeit and give up their bowl for somebody else. Like it was a Louisiana Tech that took that spot. But like, you gotta cut the bowl games. I'm sorry. It all started when, who was it for Ohio State a billion years ago? Not a billion years ago, like 15 years ago, who opted out because he didn't want to get hurt. I can't remember.
It was
who
an
it was.
Ohio State player.
I think it was an Ohio State player. It was Ohio State or Notre Dame. I can't remember.
Well, the one time with Notre Dame when we started seeing guys starting to pull out of bowl games.
Marvin Harrison.
Well, that's
No, not Marvin Harrison.
But the Notre Dame guy was Jaden Smith because Jaden Smith tore his knee up in the Fiesta Bowl, and then
That
everybody
guy. Yes. Okay. I couldn't remember if it was an Ohio State player or Notre Dame player. But regardless, the opting out started around 2011-ish. And it set a really bad precedent at that time. Set a really bad precedent. But we are about an hour into this thing, so I just want to do this.
It's gone by
little thing.
fast, hasn't it?
It has gone by fast. I think
Nate,
yeah,
how
so-
My bedtime was like 3 hours ago.
How you liking your first podcast?
Your wife's gonna hate you tonight.
Oh no. Oh, she's been asleep.
I want
for
to
probably 2 hours.
talk. I kind of want to talk about the game from Notre Dame
We'll talk about that here in a minute. I gotta pay some
I was
bills.
gonna say pay some bills.
I gotta pay some bills.
Is that what
here.
those
So,
flashcards are?
this is what the flashcard is. The only flashcard because I only got one ad to read. So
Ain't
unless
wrong.
we get more ads, by the way, if you want to sponsor the podcast, hit up AJ because he runs everything. Get you on the channel. So W Energy is a brand of energy drinks that are designed to be clean, flavorful, and focused on energy. Use code AS15TV for 10% off any order. Go to w.gg to place your order today.
I know at least 3 of us have tried. Nate, is that the watermelon
guy.
one?
It is the Dragonade.
The Dragonade? You need to get the Galaxy Grenade.
Here. Look, y'all. I'll show you mine.
The Galaxy Grenade is freaking fantastic. It's
Since we're
wa-
doing Vanna White showing off products here. And where's Mike's? Oh, wait.
Mine's upstairs in the cabinet.
Where's Mike's?
Did Mike, did you buy any?
No, he didn't buy any.
Not yet.
Speaking
Okay.
of my wife,
I
I
like the
believe I
night.
just woke her up somehow.
See,
Oh,
not-
well.
She
that's
opened
not-
the
How you
door and
did
gave
it.
me a death glare.
Oh boy.
We'll be done soon. So I know we said that we were going to talk about the IU Notre Dame game an hour ago. Right? We talked about it for like 5 minutes, but
We didn't give Mike
you-
his due.
well, we'll give Mike his side of the story here. So, Mike, obviously IU killed Notre Dame.
Yeah. Right.
Or, I mean, Notre Dame killed IU.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. I'll let you have the floor for the next 20 minutes.
Well, I was gonna say, speaking from how the game went from my perspective overall, how the game started. I
Balls.
thought when IU picked the ball off to begin the game, I literally sat there and I was kind of like, well, and going down the tubes now. This is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna go right down the tubes, blow a home playoff game right down the tubes. But then
That's
they
why I
got
was going to say Marcus Freeman's going to get fired. He's going to go to Chicago and lose every game.
yeah. But and
Jesus.
then then we
Alright.
got the interception, and then Jeremiah Love, who honestly I think will win the Heisman next year. I'm gonna call that right now. 98 yards to the house. I called that before it even happened in the Discord. I mean, he just
No, I called it too.
You did call it too,
As,
yes.
as soon as I saw him carry the ball, and as soon as I saw them offensive linemen move him out of the way, I was like, bye, untouched.
But I thought overall, I mean Indiana, they did compete for. I thought they were, they did compete. Like they did what they could do in the situation. They were probably undersized, like you said, but I mean overall for the season that Indiana had, it was very good for them, very impressive, especially going from 3 wins, last couple
Still,
seasons
yeah.
to where they're at now. So that I think that
9 wins combined the last 3 years, but
yeah, that program though
Who's
going
counting?
forward, it's going to be very good. In my
Undersized,
opinion.
undertall.
But what Notre Dame
and this is what I said too. I didn't say this in Discord because I didn't want to hear all the Notre Dame fans talking about the whole.
Yeah,
damn
holy
time,
crap.
so
Did you realize how many Notre Dame fans we have in our friend group? Jesus.
I didn't realize how many obnoxious Notre Dame fans we had in our
I
friend group. Anyways,
I knew Ryan and TJ and Mike, but everybody apparently turned into a
everybody.
Notre Dame fan
I
tonight.
left. I was like, I'm outnumbered. I don't like this. I'm gone. I'm gonna go watch the game and cry. Okay, that's basically what I had to do. So
We surrender.
pretty much. So thank you, by the way, for taking over the stream so I could, shut off my computer.
Wallow in your pain.
Anyways.
Yes.
Pretty much. So here's what I said at halftime. Well, think it was halftime. I think it was about halfway through the quarter. I was saying that IU needs to go back and they need to hit the weight room. Not because they're fat, okay, or because they're slow, all right. They were just simply outmatched. From if you looked at Notre Dame's offensive line compared to IU's offensive line and the defensive lines to each other. Can't believe I'm saying this. That is the best offensive line I've seen for Notre Dame and best defensive line that I've seen from Notre Dame in forever.
Probably in the last 10 years.
From top to bottom, like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, those guys could probably go play in the SEC. Like, I know what we saw, you know, when they've gotten killed by Alabama the last couple times they played, you know, in the college football playoff or in the national title game. Take all that to the side. I think they could go beat Georgia. They could. They very well could. But I think the game plan is the same for whoever plays Notre Dame next. And it's a lot, and you got to take the Northern Illinois approach. If you stop the run and make Riley Patterson a pocket quarterback, you have a chance to win.
Yeah. And my thing is, they weren't that good in the passing game tonight. But then they, like you said, they were. It's all about the running with Notre Dame.
Riley Patterson had that one throw.
He had that one throw and is late in the game too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was garbage time.
Yeah,
But,
and then you know they had the block field goal at one point. They're looking like the Bears out there, that offensive line on the field goal team, and it's like, oh my god! And then
shout out to the Notre Dame small snapper or long snapper, who's the smallest long snapper I've ever seen. Number 39.
Get his stats real quick.
Dude, he was small. I don't know who he is.
He's
a small boy. Small boy.
But
swear he was like Nate's height. Okay.
Right. But I mean,
5'11", I'm not small.
I'm pretty sure I'm the shortest person here.
Okay.
I mean,
it was like AJ's height, but Nate's weight. Okay, it was like that guy was like small. All right.
Yeah. And then you know they had the trick.
He is 5'7", 200 pounds.
Yeah. Sorry, that's not good.
Okay.
Reno Monteforte.
We're the same height, but I weigh 60 pounds heavier than he does.
And this dude has like a short bowl cut.
Oof. I don't have hair, so no, we're not the same person.
But I mean, even like you're talking about this, the start of the second half, they did the reverse play on the kickoff return, which is pretty cool because I thought he was going to take that to the house after he did that reverse play. And then the thing I was freaking out about was the play on the fourth down where they did the swing option out. And I was like, and they lined up like it reminded me of the Colts that one year on that fake that
Signetti shouldn't have called timeout.
The timeout saved Notre Dame because I was freaking out like, what are we doing? What are we doing? No. You know, it's just like freaking out about that.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing though. Say he doesn't call that timeout, we get the ball back, right? We still got to drive 95 yards. Is IU tonight go drive 95 yards downfield, score a touchdown? No, they ain't doing that. So, but
I'm very interested to see how Notre Dame is going to approach Georgia because am I confident that they can win? Not really, but what I could say, if Georgia plays how Georgia has this season and it's a tight game, like let's say Georgia versus Kentucky or Georgia versus Texas or Georgia versus Georgia State, Notre Dame has a real chance at this. And I know Georgia Tech, sorry. And I know if they can play like that against Notre Dame, I think Notre Dame has a chance to win that game and go to the semifinals. But I also want to mention Marcus Freeman signing a 4-year extension. That's a very
he's not gonna become the Bears' next head coach?
No, he's not. He's staying at Notre Dame where
I wanted. He should be the Bears' next
Thank God.
I wanted him.
Talk about ruining a career.
I wanted him to. That's one of the reasons why I didn't want him to go there, and one of the reasons why I want him to stay at Notre Dame because the culture he's bringing and the program that he's building, and he's got all the tools that he needs. Because I think
he really has. As much crap as I talk about Notre Dame, and how much I say they're overrated, which I do say it a lot. Mike's heard it a lot.
The smile Nate has on his face is, oh God, it's dead now.
I just want them to join a conference and maybe I'll stop giving them such a hard time. Like, can you imagine if they joined the ACC? They
do you
would
th-
mop the floor against
Yeah.
like Clemson and Florida State and SMU. What is that?
It's a Whalers hat.
A Whalers hat.
Dude, does it feel weird that you have something that says Hartford on your head? And I'm
Eh.
like 20 minutes away from Hartford.
It feels more weird knowing this hat's from the 80s.
It could be
Nice.
mid 90s. I think they left in 97, so
Yeah.
it's still almost as old as I am.
Does not fit my head.
Still the coolest logo in the NHL. I
So-
don't care what anybody says.
But yeah, overall, I think the game plan for Georgia is the same to defend Notre Dame. Stop the run and make Riley Leonard a pocket passer. And honestly, to be fair, I think Notre Dame has the same game plan to defend Georgia, whoever the Georgia quarterback's going to be, whether it's
Uh-huh.
Carson Beck or whether it's going to be the freshman that comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Make them a pocket passer and stop the run. And people think, oh, well, you know, you got to do this against this team or that against that team. I don't care who you are. You have to defend the line of scrimmage. Like, it's won and lost on the offense and defensive line, period. But of course, whoever can score more points is going to beat the other team. But
Of course.
neither here nor there.
Well, that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, for the most part.
Or
so,
if you can kick a 57-yard field goal uncontested.
hey, that free
Yeah.
kick rule, I don't care what anybody says, that was genius.
I had no clue that existed.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
So,
Is that anything like the Doug Flutie thing like 20 years ago with the
with
Patriots?
the drop kick,
Yeah. Is that
no, that's different. It's similar, but it's different.
Didn't they
Okay.
say the last time that had happened was like 1960 something or
It was
70?
1976.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right.
I thought it was 69. Okay.
Now, here's the thing, though.
Nice.
That was the last time it was successful. Nice, yeah. The last time it was successful was that time. But it was attempted, ironically, when Harbaugh was on the 49ers, when he was the head coach there. They had Phil Dawson on a Thursday night game against the Rams. He attempted a free kick at the end of the half. I think it was like a 60-yard field goal, and he missed. It hit the crossbar and bounced out.
Dang.
Do you think it screws up? It obviously didn't screw up the kicker's timing from last night, but do you think not getting rushed is kind of worse than getting rushed because it screws up
Well-
your timing completely?
Well, you think about it,
Well,
it's like
They do
warm ups.
yeah, I was gonna say they do pregame warm ups.
Yeah,
I was gonna
fair
say it's kind of like
warm-ups.
warm-ups, or if you handle kickoff duties, we can
Okay.
which
Well, look at
which-
Justin
which-
Tucker. Justin Tucker would kick like 70-yard field goals on warm ups for fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
So here's what I was getting ready to say. You know how McAfee did the kickoffs forever for Indianapolis?
He's got one kickoff that's my favorite, and that's where he literally blocks everybody and just mine.
Ryan said it
Houston
was a
Texans.
71-yard
the onside against
attempt.
Houston.
against the Houston. Yeah. So my thing is, in a free kick situation like that, I think you would almost want to have your kickoff guy out there doing that kick, because kickoffs you're not really rushed during that time. So, and plus it's kind of like practice. So, I mean, if you get a free kick now, what's going to be interesting, not that worked. I wonder how many times moving forward where there's like a 60 plus yard field goal attempt, if more people are going to use that free kick.
Is that
Well, I mean,
only
it's
if
also-
there's a
it's-
penalty to end the quarter?
no, it is the rule is there. If you make a fair catch, if you want to attempt a 92-yard field goal, you can do it.
That's
The
a free
reason-
kick. Yeah.
Yeah, or yeah, it's free kick. The reason they did it was because there was like 1 second on the clock, or technically no time.
So
Right.
if you miss it, is it still then a turnover? Or do you just get second
It-
down?
It depends. Is it
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about
no,
that.
it would still go to the other team, but the thing is,
Okay.
it depends as far as like, is it a fair catch or does it go as a miss? I think it does go as a miss. I'd have to look at the rule book, but that rule is in there.
It's been a while since I've read the rule book.
I've never read the rule book for the NFL. To be quite frank with you, there are a couple things I'll look at. and
Pretty
I'm like,
sure there are
these
refs
Don't
that
things-
worry,
have
the
no clue
referees
what the-
haven't either.
Thank you.
the
There it was.
the refs don't. That's for sure. But
What's pass
Oh.
interference? We don't know.
so what do we got going on tonight? Anything else we want to talk about? What do you guys want to talk about? I feel like Cody Rhodes out here now.
I like that callback. That was nice. Good job, Gary.
Yeah, thanks.
I mean, there's stuff that I have a background, but we could save that to last because I'm gonna rant on that.
Okay, so Ryan says
Set,
it's a turnover and change
let's
of
set
possession.
AJ up because we let Nate talk about FCS for forever,
Oh, so we're just gonna throw it to mine. Okay.
which was a blast. So let's hear about your crappy New York Rangers.
I was gonna say, do we want to
And,
do hockey first, or
Yankees.
do you want to do baseball first? Because
Do both. Do whichever one.
Whatever you want to
do.
rant more about most, I guess.
Okay, but I have notes.
Go
Uno
ahead.
momento, por favor, please.
Oh, he has notes just like I have notes, but my notes aren't as in this week.
Ooh, we could definitely talk about how. What didn't the Rangers start the season like 11-3? Now they're
You
like
shut the
15,
hell up,
15.
Nate. You're a guest on my channel. You shut your
Hey, look,
whore.
Easy, boys. Easy.
You can only beat us so many times before we revel in the fact that your season is just a complete
Yeah,
dumpster fire.
how does it feel to have the better team, but you still lose to us in the playoffs
Ouch.
every
we just
time?
Didn't we just beat New York like 3 years ago and knock you out of the playoffs?
No, I'm pretty sure we've beat you every time. It could
Let's
be
see,
wrong.
hold on.
Yeah, go do your nee. Nana boo boo. Stick your head and doo doo. So, Gary, baseball or hockey? Take your pick.
Have a point near me? I'm gonna flip a coin.
Roll a d20, evens, odds. Take your pick.
All right. Heads, tails. This is a magnet.
Well, which one's which?
All right. Heads is gonna be football or not football. Baseball.
We don't want to talk about
Tails.
football. My Patriots suck.
Yeah. Tails is gonna be hockey.
Okay.
Baseball it is.
Baseball it is. Well, the Yankees lost on the Christian Walker stuff. He's going to the Astros for 3 years, 60 million. So they're gonna need a first baseman because I really don't want them to put Cody Bellinger at first base. Even though he does play a very good first base, I'd rather have him either center field or left field, which kind of opens them up to either go to Pete Alonso, which I really don't want because they're going to overpay for Pete Alonso just to be like to the Mets. You can get Santander from the Orioles. What
about H to the Rizzo? What happened to him?
Oh, they bought him out. He's now a free agent. He can go anywhere he wants. And for what I'm hearing, unfortunately, as much as I like Anthony Rizzo, even before he became a Yankee, it looks like he's probably not going to get picked up by anybody. Probably
really?
age and
Wow.
he really didn't
Did
play
he play
great.
for the Cubs a million years ago when they
He
won the World
did.
Series?
Yeah.
He
Is that the same
did.
guy? Okay.
And he is an amazing person, was an amazing player, but he has really degraded the last 3 or 4 years.
I could see the Cubs re-signing him, to be honest.
To just finish his career there, I would be happy for that.
It would be the Cubs thing to do.
Well,
Yep.
It would be the right thing to do. He should
go to the White Sox. So
he's given everything to that Chicago area. I hope the Cubs re-sign him, even if it's for like a one last year hurrah thing.
It's just like, no, we don't want his old ass. We suck anyway.
Yeah, we have enough problems as our own already. We don't need that.
There's rumors that Brian Cashman's looking to get Paul Goldschmidt from the Cardinals. I don't know how much they want to give up for that. I'm nervous because I really don't want to give up some of our prospects, Spencer Jones, who they're saying, not me, media in the MLB area are saying that he could be the next Aaron Judge. He's 6'5", 230, and hits moonshots. Moonshots. I went to a Hartford Yard Goats AA baseball for the Colorado Rockies up in Hartford, just like with the Wolfpack. But okay, they had the Somerset Patriots in last season, and right field pitcher Fenway Park, Green Monster left field. They have that exact same thing in right field. And he's hitting it clear over the stadium onto Main Street.
Wow.
Damn.
That's impressive.
And I've never seen such a swing So you know how they say lefty at batters have a beautiful swing, like come across the strike zone and everything.
Yep.
This dude just it comes through the zone and you're just whoa,
Where's it going?
basically. And a lot of people want him or Luis Heel, last year's AL Rookie of the Year as a pitcher. Got that. A lot of people want that. Trent saying Goldie's a free agent. I thought he was still with the Cardinals. Okay, that's my bad. There's a lot of moving pieces with the Yankees.
He's a big Cardinals fan, so he knows.
Oh, well, that would be somebody who would know. But I don't know. I honestly, and Mike, I've talked to you a lot about this because I know you're a decent baseball fan. I was okay with losing Juan Soto because that $765 million price tag,
Funny.
as good as a hitter he is, he sucks
So
at
much
fielding
money.
and he sucks at running.
Yeah.
To just
So
at
much-
bat, $765 million.
Yeah.
I'd rather get 4 or 5 players that we could pay that 55 or 51 or 55 a year for.
Well, you got Max Fried, and then who did you guys get from the Reds tonight? Because you made a trade with the Reds tonight.
I have that. Give me a sec.
Oh, so while you're looking that up, Trenton was just mentioning this past season was his last season of the deal. Arnado,
Nolan
Uh,
Arenado.
yeah, is the guy that on their payroll that they might trade.
Which
in that
which
season.
I wouldn't mind him. He's a good player.
Mhm.
Nate, we maybe have 10 or 15 more minutes.
Okay.
So cool. I wouldn't mind Arenado, but he's another one that's up there in age. I would have liked him 5 or 6 years ago before he even went to the Cardinals. When he was still with the Rockies. But the Yankees, where did it go? Mike, did I send it to you?
You did. Hold on, let me look at it. I was just replying to something else, but I sent
Yes.
you.
The Reds acquire catcher Jose Trevino from the Yankees for right-handed pitcher Fernando Cruz and catcher Alex Jackson, per MLB Network's insider Joel Sherman. So basically, the Yankees are getting a 4-11 pitcher with a 4.50 ERA and a catcher who hit 132 in 2 seasons.
Oof.
For a catcher that has won 2 Gold Gloves, Jose Trevino, I feel like that is opening cap room for something. Not cap room, but luxury tax room payroll for something, whoever they plan on going to get. Because we need a first baseman or we need a third baseman. I will take both. As I've said this many times, and people are going to hate at me for it. I grew up in the 90s when the Yankees didn't give a crap about payroll, when George Steinbrenner was buying everybody. I will say it again. We are the bleeping freaking Yankees. I don't care about a damn luxury tax. It ain't my money. I understand that. We should be doing what the Dodgers have been doing the last 5-6 years. We are the freaking Yankees. There should be no issue with money. Just because George died and Hal's like, it's a little steep. Money ain't doing as great as it used to be. I don't know. Maybe because to sit right behind home plate, you're charging almost $1,200. When I can go over to the Mets, and I will never enjoy that, even though they're significantly cheaper, to sit right behind home plate for $120.
I'm gonna tell everybody you're a Mets fan now.
No. It was one time.
So you're saying for a tenth of the price, I could sit behind the exact same spot?
Yeah, I've actually gone down to Camden Yards where the Orioles played for a Yankee game, sat right behind the Orioles dugout for $45.
Wow.
So
Cheaper
Is it
for the
re-
Rays.
is it really just because
It's the Yankees.
It's the Yankees.
It's the Yankees. Don't get me wrong. The Mets prices have gone up within the last 2 weeks.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Well, they got to figure out how to pay for that contract somehow. I have seen where they post their numbers that the Met season tickets have gone up significantly. I think they said about 22% over last year. Uh, so Juan Soto is definitely bringing in money. Yeah, I picked it up.
But before we get too further into this conversation, I know Nate's gotta head out, but we wanted to say Nate. Thanks to Nate for joining us tonight on the podcast. Appreciate you staying up
Absolutely.
late with us. I know it's late, but
It is 1 a.m. 1 a.m. I hate to drop it, but thanks for having me on, guys. It was super
Yeah.
fun.
yeah,
Absolutely.
appreciate
I'm
you
sorry
having me on.
I've been quiet
And
with
there's
the
a lot of stuff that
baseball.
we didn't get to tonight either.
I know.
That we'll have to push back to next week. So.
Nate,
Yep.
before
that's
you
okay.
hit that leave button, is there anything about the Hurricanes you want to say?
Just the fact
They
that they're
are
better
better
than
than the
New
Rangers.
York,
Mic drop out.
and we don't have Rempe on our team, so
Not
winning.
yet. Not yet.
I'll sell my season tickets if that
I'm so
happens.
pissed that you guys got rid of Brady Shea.
I am too.
I loved Brady Shea when he was with the Rangers. Then we traded him to you guys because you and the Lightning are baby Rangers for some reasons.
Really are. Yeah, I was not happy that they got rid of him either.
Well,
Let's
since
give a
we're
round of
here,
applause to Nate. Round of
round of
applause.
applause for Nate. That was a really solid first podcast. Hope y'all enjoyed it. It's really late. It's 1 a.m. here. AJ, how long we been live now for?
Hour 20.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Not too bad. That's
No.
about yeah.
We
For
just
those of you
started
watching,
late.
my bedtime is generally about 10:30 Eastern time and is now 1 in the morning, so I am
Yeah,
tired.
So we're gonna let Nate go to bed, but we are done here for the evening. Thank you guys so much for watching the All-Star Sports Report.
Yeah.
Or did you want to keep going? Can
No,
we keep
well,
going?
I
without
had
you?
I had two more things that we can close
Yeah.
up.
Oh, okay.
Just-
You had
I
two
will
more
stay.
things?
Just
I will
Go
stay.
ahead. We'll stay
he's
for your
gonna
last
stay.
two things.
I will
Okay.
stay.
Just two.
I will stay.
You guys talked about Jacob Trouba getting sent over to the Ducks last week, which I'm okay with. But then the
Happy
Rangers
trails.
sent over Capo to the Seattle Kraken Wednesday, and New York's receiving defenseman Will Borgen and a 3rd and 5th round pick in the 2025 draft. Now, what I have to say to this is I really had high hopes with Kako being the 2nd overall pick 4 or 5 years ago. He's had moments where there's been brilliance, but for the most part, it's been very meh. I hope a new scenery will treat him well. I do. But the issue with New York is not him. Wasn't Trouba. As much as I like Chris Drury, I think it's time for him to.
Yeah, y'all do have a pretty old
'Cause
team.
I love Peter Laviolette. Peter Laviolette is a phenomenal head coach of the Rangers. It
He
seems
won the
like
cup for the Hurricanes.
it seems like he's lost the locker room in a little bit, and I think that has to do with some of the players kind of revolting on him for asking them to do more than what they want to do. That makes sense? Like the players are like not busting their ass like they did last year for him. Because I don't think the coaching has changed. I think the players' mentality has changed. And I think a lot of that has to do with the front office not doing what they need to better this team. Because they did nothing for the most part this offseason. They're like, oh, we did great last season with this team.
Yeah, it's
So
night and day from last season.
Let's just bring everybody, for the most part, back over. Not really didn't improve, really didn't do anything. And I think the players are finally like, you didn't fix anything. We had holes last year. You didn't do anything. What the heck? And as much as I like Chris Drury, he's a Connecticut native, won the Little League World Series for Trumbull, Connecticut. I want to say in the '80s, the late '80s. But I think it's time for him to go. And I miss is it John? The old GM, Gordon. because he made the difficult moves that I feel like Drury can't, being an ex-player.
And that's moving on a guy probably 2 or 3 years before they're done.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and that's always kind of been the tough spot. I don't care what sport it is. I don't care if it's hockey. I don't care if it's football, basketball, whatever. I think that's where kind of it's a double-edged sword. It's like an Achilles heel, right? With those type of GMs, either they know it's the business side and they just make those moves, even though they're probably not ideal, or they don't make them at all, and the whole team suffers. Performance goes down. They lose, and you're 15-15. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, it ain't great. They did
yeah.
win tonight against the Dallas Stars, which cool. But they need to put a lot more wins together before I really start getting hyped about this team again.
Yeah.
I'd rather go
that-
spend my money
yeah.
up in Hartford.
Fair enough.
But
A lot cheaper.
A lot cheaper too.
$35 versus $250.
Yeah, a lot cheaper.
And you can eat and drink 10 beers all for
Well,
like
it's only
40
it's only
bucks?
it's only home games on Fridays where it's $2 beers and $2 dogs. But
That's still pretty
I
good,
think we'll close up shop
especially in
here
this economy.
so everybody
But
can
yeah.
go to bed.
Yeah, because I gotta go to Louisville tomorrow. So that is gonna do it for this show. I have got news and notes for NASCAR for next week. We're gonna give you guys updates on the lawsuit that's happening.
Oh yeah,
Da-da-da-da.
that's a big
We
topic.
did have some movement today with the truck series. Got a new addition. Chandler Smith did find a ride. We'll talk more about that next week. That'll be one of the first things we talk about.
Which means you guys
Slab
got to come
car,
back.
IMSA. Of course, we'll talk sports. We'll talk about everything that happened this weekend between college football and the NFL. College basketball, more coverage of that is going to start coming around the corner. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening, wherever you may be listening, however you may be doing that. It's an hour and a half in, a little over an hour and a half now, probably. Thank you guys for watching and listening. This is the All-Star Sports Report. My name's Gary. That's Mike. That's Nate. That's AJ. We're out of here. Good night, Canada.
Yeah.
Canada. All right. Well, cool. Bye, Canada.
USA. USA.